Hello, hello, Chris, back again, continuing my Path of Exile run. So we are now about 9 days away from Trial of the Ancestors. So I'm just gonna keep going till then. I was playing some 7 Days to Die with a friend of mine earlier tonight, and we hit our Horde night. It didn't really go well at all. The base was not really well prepared. It was more of a kind of just a hideout. Not really set up to take the brunt of the Horde there. So we died pretty quickly, but I think that he and his girlfriend were away anyway, so we died fast, and then I think they took out his bedroll, so he spawned way far away. And that was pretty much it. Like, I guess he must have vlogged or something, or he said he was going to, and I just missed it. Anyway, now I'm back for some more Path of Exile, continuing on, and I'm going to take on Act 3. Continuing on with my trap build, so I got my hazelnut coffee, got my water, ready to go. So I'm at level 28 now, and time to take on Act 3. We start by going through the slums, and then we go to find Clarissa's boyfriend or husband or whatever. So here we go. I haven't really done anything since then. I was just looking at some of the gems that were available at the end of Act 2 and Act 1. Nothing's really changed, nothing really to improve the mines that I use, but they already do some pretty heavy damage right now anyway. So there's actually a frost gem I might switch out the fire gem for pretty soon, even though the fire one just does a ridiculous amount of damage. The cold one really bumps it up too, and then it has the added bonus of freezing everything as well. But when you can take out everything this quickly, it certainly is good to have that. There was actually one gem I was considering getting as well, but I don't have the slots for it. I can't remember what it is now. I was actually thinking about it a bit earlier today, and now it's just slipped out of my head now that I can actually record and get some thoughts down on paper. So I don't really want to level up Clarity anymore at the moment, because my mana regen is good enough to handle all these mines, and the more I upgrade the Clarity, the more mana it takes. So Reservation 89 mana, it's pretty high. I don't really need to upgrade that anymore, so I'm just going to right click on the plus icon, and that just sets it so it doesn't upgrade, and you'll stop getting the notification. But I will upgrade the combustion support. Yeah. Really liking this mine build. But yeah, I think I am actually considering just staying with the fire traps. Mainly because come Trial of the Ancestors, I'm going to go a cold build. So why start messing with a different element when I'm really going to wing it and record for Trial of the Ancestors and just see how that goes. And one thing I have to remember to do more often is use the Quicksilver flasks and the dash more, because what is the point of going slower if I don't need to? Alright, so we go to the crematorium, and here there's another trial of the Ancestor or Ascendancy here.
If I were death, I'd take offense at this.
And we just don't really need it, so we can pretty much skip any of that stuff. But it was here that there's the third or fourth one. Anyway, it's not all that important. The boss of this act is Donovan, I think. Donovan, or it starts with a D anyway. And he has It's actually a really long fight. What you have to do is you have to go through, kill off all his little minions, and then you take him on in his priest form, and then after that he becomes something else.
Continues to nip at my heels. Bag it and tag it, boys and girls.
You're going down, Pike. Yeah, in Act 4 we finally deal with her.
Hold still, specimen.
So she does quite a bit of lightning damage. Oh, that's actually the first time I've taken her health all the way down. So you can't actually kill her here. She runs away. Okay, I guess not only do you have to kill her here, but you have to kill all the ads. So we got that. We're going to log out quickly, save ourselves a town portal. Oh, and I think we leveled up as well. Yep. So, we talked to Clarissa. She's going to give us the sewer keys.
I need to give you something. I asked a lot of you out there in the slum.
Yeah, the
Watch
story
yourself.
for this game is actually not bad.
I walked. No.
And one of these days, I'm actually I'm gonna listen to the dialogue, but most of the time I just skip it. All right, so what can we get here? Conductivity. That's what it was. Conductivity. It increases the amount of. Oh wait, shock. I know there's one for fire as well. Flame ability. So we're gonna take that one, and then let's see. Christian mates have -16 to elemental resistances, -18 to fire resistances, and 25% chance to ignite. So we're gonna take the flame ability, but there is one that's when you. So that's what I was actually thinking of earlier. When I get something that has 6 slots, what I can do is I can put flame ability, and there's a support gem that's when you use an ability, when it hits an enemy, it affects them with the curse that's tied to it. So I'm going to get that, and eventually get the gem that is going to apply the curse, and
General
then
Gravicius.
just
Goodbye.
watch the damage spike even more.
Thomas Victoria, bring me back something nicer.
Yeah. I think one of the best things about this game is just how many different builds you can do, how many different gem setups you can do, and I think that's going to be one of the things I'm really looking forward to come Path of Exile 2's release, that I'm hoping the gem overhaul system hits this game as well. That way you don't have to sit there worrying about gear all the time. Alright, so when I last left off, I got all the way to high explosives, and I got this one as well. Where do I want to head next? No, I don't need mines. So I want to continue up in the traps, but I also want to look for anything that... Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to... So if you type in a word here, you can usually find where any trap things are. So there's another trap up here. Skills which throw traps have +1 cooldown use. Okay, so that's not actually all that useful, since I think that would be good for like the bear trap and maybe some of the other ones. But since we don't really use those much... Wow, there's... I think I've basically taken everything that's I can for traps. So let's look at maybe elemental. Okay, so elemental... If I go down here, I can get some more with attack skills. No, attack skills aren't going to help me much. Flasks. This one might be worth heading up to get. So if I go increase fire damage, increase fire and cold, and then increase fire and cold. So maybe I will head up this way. I think the best route to take would probably be up here. So, yeah, we're going to go for this elemental mastery up here next. and then maybe a few things to increase my health and a few other abilities. So if I get these 3, that's a good improvement to evasion and energy shield. Anyway, enough rambling on, Chris. Just shut up and play the game. So now we have the key. We're looking for the sewers. Pick up the great helmets, even though we don't really need it. And so the sewer is usually really close to the entrance that you come in. So you don't have to sit there and explore the whole map, although the only problem is that you usually pass it on the way when you're coming through the first time, and then you kind of have to remember where you left off. So the sewers here, you have to find the 3 busts for one of the quests, and then it's usually 1 or 2. It's kind of random, the setup. You can either get 1 or 2 before the waypoint, and then 1 is on the other side. So you're never going to have 3 before the portal or 3 after the portal. They're sort of split up between that. Alright, so they are always in stash. It's easy to see by the exclamation mark there. So you always want to make sure that you do get this portal, because you're always going to have to come back to the sewers. So there was a little bit here. I think I'm going to save a little bit of time and just check over there to see if the other bust is in this area, because there's no way we're going to do all we have to after the sewers and then get here before the instance resets, because it only has a 15-minute timer, and the instance, like, you have to go through the marketplace, the docks, so there's no way you're going to get through it in time. So what we can actually do is just save a little bit of time. We did get the waypoint, so we'll just go to the sewers. So it's just a little bit to save some time. Here's the second bus. And we just need one more.
A moment to catch my breath.
Is possibly over here. Yeah, it doesn't seem like I'm going to need a lot of defense now, but that can change really quickly. After Act 5, you're going to be taking a bit of a curse that's going to reduce your elemental resistance by 30%, and then when you finish Act 10, once more, it drops another 30%. So even though it seems like we're a little bit overpowered now, that can change really quickly. Minus 60% by the time you finish the game, and then the enemies hit a lot harder anyway. Alright. So we have that. Now all we have to do is just find the way out. If it's your first time going through here, you see where that little blue icon was on the map if you were paying attention. That's another hideout. You clear that out,
I'd
and
question what I've become.
then you get
If I felt the need, I don't.
the sewers, or the baleful hideout, I think it is. We'll see in a second, because we are going to pass it. Undercity hideout. And was there anything I had to upgrade here? Alright, so the scepter is set to go. And okay, why does it not? Okay, it didn't look like it was activated for some reason. Or it did light up a little bit differently, and I just missed it. So, when it's set to nearly lethal, you definitely want to move around as much as you can. So, the Undercity hideout's here. You get the 3 busts, and now you're heading to the marketplace, and you always make sure that you get the waypoint just to save a bit of time. And I have a skill point to use up as well. And the weapon gave me plus 6% dexterity and intellect, I think it was. So. Yeah, whenever you enter a new area, until you move, you have a 60-second cooldown of... if you don't move, then you're essentially invincible. Nothing's going to attack you, but if you enter a new area and you go AFK, you're not going to be invincible forever. Alright, so we want to get the increased fire and cold damage. So we are almost there. And then I think we're going to work on a little bit of defense after that. So the other thing I did want to check was just what my weapon gave me. So 6% increased dexterity and intellect. So there's a few things to get, well, 2 things to get from here. Actually 3 things. So you want to keep an eye out for the decanter. Since in Act 1 we did everything for Captain Fairgraves, he essentially died in that, well, he did die in that fight. So later on in this act you come across him, he's a ghost. If you find the decanter on the way and you talk to him, he gives you another quest. We don't really need to talk to him. One of the good things about this game is that the quests, you don't have to go get the quest just to be able to finish it. If you enter the area and you get the items, then when you talk to the person that you turn the quest into, you'll complete it regardless. Alright, so a lot of times the decanter is usually fairly close to the entrance. There's times that sometimes it's a bit further. Okay, it looks like this is one of those times. So, the decanter, you'll see it on the map when you get close. It's another exclamation point. You grab that, and then you just hold the decanter until you come across Fairgraves. He's at the docks. So, he's still a little bit of ways away. There's that, there's the waypoint here, and then here is also where you can get another Trial of Ascendancy. It's in the catacombs or the crypt or something like that. And then once you finish that, you're one step closer. But once you do all 6 of them, you're set to do it anyway. So this, I believe, the catacombs, okay. So that's where you would go for another Trial of Ascendancy, but we don't need to do that. The Trial of Ascendancies, it is good to try and get through without getting hit, although if you're quick, you're not really going to take much damage from the traps anyway, and a lot of them you can just run through or just pop potions. Alright, there's the Hornet chest, so it actually looks like we need to go around. Yeah, there's a few really good buffs for the mines, but also a nice curse would be good too. Okay, so the decanter is how big? 3 slots. Okay. Alright, so now that we have that, we head to the battlements, I think? Battlefronts. Alright, so in this one, it's actually fairly easy too. What we're looking for in this area is the waypoints. And there's another item that you can get to help you unlock the sewers. How good the dash is actually improving in distance now. So I can dash up some cliffs, which is nice.
I need more pockets.
Hostage ornament is sort of shiny. That actually sounds pretty good. We don't have room. Let's quickly clear some of our inventory, get some of this stuff turned in. I don't usually like leaving the chromatic orbs, like the items that you can sell for chromatic orbs, just lying on the grounds. Okay, so he gives us a nice skill book, 2 passive respec points and a passive skill points, so that's nice to have. And we also wanted to clear the inventory a little bit, so let's use these rolls of wisdom on anything we can. Any upgrades here? Maximum life, mana, lightning resist, chaos. Nope, that's not really an upgrade. And we kind of need the strength. The helmets, that might be an upgrade. It's not like we're really using the slots here at all. So we get more intellect, more fire resist. We do lose a fair bit of evasion rating, but we're not taking very much damage anyway, so the intellect is probably going to be a bit better. So we're going to switch out the helm. What else? Oh, I missed a belt. So 34 strength, that's definitely an improvement. Maximum mana shield is nice, maximum mana. So pretty much all around, this is a much better belt. Yep, and the boots. The boots are... This has some good lightning and chaos resist, and it does have the blue one, but it doesn't really add anything else that I need, so we... 25 maximum mana, that's nice to have. Lightning and chaos resist, well there's not really a lot of chaos spells we're going to come across, so I think I'm just going to sell these boots.
How you going?
Oh, 4 slots for the mask. Nah, we can skip that. Alright. Sell that, use our next points. So we now get 8% more cold and fire damage. Good coffee. Okay. And then back to the battlefront now that we have some spare room. Grab that sword that we wanted at the beginning. And since we have that sword now, what we can actually do is just give it a quick identify because... Oh no, corrupted item scans. Okay, so... Never mind, we're not going to be using the Crucible at all. So mana has definitely taken a nice little jump up. And we have a heck of a lot of mana regen. Alright, so there's the waypoint. So, you always want to check to the left of the waypoint. And then you get the ribbon spool. You're going to need that for later. Right. So this area splits off into a few different paths. We are going to go to the docks first, and then to the Lunar Temple. Lunar or Solar? Might be the Solar Temple, actually. So there we go, the docks. So if you go to your map, you actually see that it splits off into 3 directions. We can't really go this way because this leads to the... I forget what it's called, but that's where we have to backtrack after we go to the temple because the little impassable thing here, we can unblock that, but we can't take the path from the docks because it's blocked by some kind of mystic force. So we just in the docks we're looking for Fairgraves, we're looking for the waypoint, and we are looking for the other item, thermal something. I really like how much damage these traps do. I'm kind of disappointed that there's not more trap skills around here on this character. So just keep going through, keep killing everything. Yeah, one thing that I wish that I did have more regions to cast is the enchantment you can get for any flasks, where when you hit maximum charges, it uses it automatically. You can also use one that every time you use a movement skill, it pops as well.
Just need a moment to catch my breath.
Alright, so we have the waypoint here, and then this is where we see Fairgraves. Now you don't have to talk to him, but he will take the decanter, and that clears up a little bit of inventory space. It's not a big deal since we already cleared out our inventory, but if you're struggling a little bit, just a little hint there. Nope, can't zip across. So, take the detour. Yeah, usually I really hate enemies that have the regen, but the traps right now are just doing such a ridiculous amount of damage that they just can't recover. And evasive, it doesn't really... I mean, it kind of avoids spell damage, but it feels like, for the most part, with the effects on the ground and the traps, it explodes and just doesn't miss. Right. So yeah, sometimes it can be at the docks for a little while to find everything you need, but we already found Fairgraves and the waypoints. Now that those are out of the way, we don't have to worry about trying to explore coming back, because when we get the next item for Fairgraves, he's right at the waypoint always, and it's just a matter of warping here, turning it in, getting the reward, and then you're done. Oh, I see the exclamation mark finally. So Act 3 is actually going pretty quick so far. Supply container, get that, so now we can just exit out, warp back in, take the waypoints, so go back to the battlefronts, and then from the battlefronts, since the docks is there, we always want to go slightly to the right or to the east of it, and that will take us to the temple that we're looking for. I think it's the Sun Temple. Okay, I know the Lunar one, I think it's Lunar one. It's really dark, but I could just be completely wrong. So it's either going to be down. Yep, there it is. So this is the... Okay, this is the Sun Temple. So I was actually surprised the first time coming through here that
someone's got too much
this game
time
actually
on their
went all
hands.
out with the golden statues. Like, you got all kinds of nudity here and just some crazy stuff, but Path of Exile, I mean, for a bloody game by the developers of Diablo, they really did not pull their punches here. And it's not like we're going to zoom in, because just because the statues are naked doesn't mean we have to sit there and look at them. Oh, and some upgrades. Fire traps, skitterbots. Alright, so the skitterbots, with each level, it seems like they increase shock effects and either more minion damage or more mine damage. Why does it seem like the skitterbots are taking a lot more? So skitterbots... Huh. It's supposed to reserve 35% mana, but for some reason it's taken 41%. I'm not sure why. I don't have anything attached to it. I don't have anything that says it should increase the cost of mana. Oh well. Alright, so when we find the first waypoints, it's not really at the steps, that's for the Lunar Temple, I think. So we still have a bit, I think you're at the halfway mark for this level once you find the waypoint. And then it usually leads to a big chamber, and the door is on either the left or the right. Or not there at all. Okay, so I went the wrong way. Circle back a little bit. Check this path. So yeah, there's lots of these little ribbon creatures here. And I think that was a mini-boss, but it just died slowly. Oh no, this is mini-boss. Alright, so giant mana flasks. That is actually an upgrade from what I'm currently using, but I don't really have to worry about it too much right now, because It's not like I have a lot of health. I remember one of the people that I watched to get guides for this game was saying that on average you should try and hit about 300 more health per act. So by the end of this act, if we're doing it right, we should have around 900 health. But it's not something set in stone, but because we have the minions and we have a decent amount of evasion, it shouldn't be too much for you. Oh, and another mini boss. Yeah, another thing that I'm looking forward to Path of Exile 2 doing is making the bosses a little bit more interesting, because when they die that quickly, and it's not even like I'm over geared with a bunch of uniques or anything. It doesn't really feel like it takes much skill to take out the mini bosses here. Oh, we have 2 extra points to use. So let's toss those out. So I was going for the fire damage and increased fire damage. So we are going 523 and then 860 fire damage per second. Let's see how much that bumps up with these two. So 571 and 949 fire damage per second. So that's a pretty nice boost.
Just need a moment to catch my breath.
One thing that I've seen people on the community site asking the developers of Path of Exile to do is to either add the damage numbers or to make it so you can see the enemy's health. I don't know if that's actually an option that's in the game, seeing the enemy's health, but I know that the people of Path of Exile several times have said that they're not planning on adding like a DPS meter or anything like that. Because once you do that, all you're doing is just monitoring the numbers and trying to get bigger and bigger numbers, and it leads to too much min-maxing rather than just enjoying the game. So, can we warp? Oh. Oh, not here. Okay, it's this way. So you want to grab the waypoint as well, even though, because we have both items, we're not really going to have to return to Dahlia.
You are not a cockroach.
But if you ended up missing the ribbon school or coming here first, then getting the waypoint would definitely help.
You have?
Alright, so let's, what do we have here? 25 intelligence, 16 dexterity. So let's go... Alright, this is a lapis amulet. Let's try the jade amulets. Actually... No, let's stick with the lapis amulet.
Come again. I like you. A dash of luck.
So we have our...
You may go.
Infernal Talic. So you don't really need to go to the internal laboratory. As far as I can tell, the only reason to come in here is just for a bunch of lore. So, what is the...
I awoke, feverish and barely conscious.
Yeah, you don't really need to come here. I think the only reason to come here is if you don't have any of the crafting recipes. I believe there's a door on each side.
The reverie commanded its rendering.
But
the reverie device
okay, maybe
now
not. Maybe not
completed.
Both sides, maybe just the one
placed
side.
the first of my
But since we
maps
have
within
that, we
its
can go back to the
receptacle.
sewers.
I've taken
And then if
my
you
maiden
were
voyage into
sort of
nightmare.
exploring and you came across this
I know
before
now that
and didn't know what to
sent
do,
me this precious gift.
well, you just had to
It
circle
knows
back.
me.
But it's like this big
Expects my return.
tumor-looking thing
It
here,
would be foolish
and
to
then you just
disappoint
use the fire and just burn right through it. One nice thing is that you don't have to wait for the entire thing to burn. You just click on it, and then you can just run right through it. So now we are at the Ebony Barracks. We are really zipping through this act, aren't we? Level up dash, level up
I'm
swift
inside the
assembly.
Blackguard stronghold.
Because there's no point in
like
not having
fox
those.
in a hen house.
So the waypoint is right there. And what we want to do is we want to go to the Lunar Temple first. Because we need that to deal with piety. There would be no point in going to the Imperial Gardens first, since that actually leads to the end of the zone. And you can unlock it without getting the tower key, which you get from Piety, which means that if you went the wrong way, you just have to backtrack anyway, and might as well just save a little bit of time. Once you go through the game once, you kind of know a little bit of the shortcuts that you have to get. Alright, so that guy wasn't too bad. When you fight General Grievous here, he actually does a fair bit of damage, but since we have the traps, he might just drop really quickly. So, up we go. And once we get the next level, I think we'll put it into Elemental Mastery. So this is General Grievous. So yeah, you definitely want to watch out for those, especially if you're actually playing this game on Ruthless, because those things can really one-shot you.
Who do you fight for, Exile?
Alright, so he's down, and the Lunar Temple is usually
Had I killed you back in
to
Aria,
the
I'd
north,
have been showered in gold.
to the northeast of
Where's
him.
the justice, eh?
And then the entrance to the Imperial Gardens is usually along the wall here. So we should be coming across the door any second.
Just need a moment to catch my breath.
Yeah, I remember being so unsure of what to do the first time going through this game. I think I must have spent about 4 hours in this act because I kept thinking I was doing something wrong when I was trying to cross the... Oh, shoot, what was this? When I was trying to go from the battlefront over here, I kept thinking, okay, well, the path is blocked over in the sewers, so I guess I have to try and find something in the battlefront to unlock the way, and I just didn't know what I was doing. So what we're looking for here is the waypoint. Once we see that on the map, the stairs are usually right next to it. And we don't have any items that we need to use the Crucible for. Oh, we might as well pick one up. That way we can see if unlocking it is gonna give us some kind of good treasure or if it's just gonna be another pile of junk. So we're gonna go all the way to the first level here. Once the lights stop, done. Attack and move, attack and move, attack and move. And there we go. So that was really easy. Let's see what the ceremonial gem offers. Cold damage. Nope. Nope. Nope, nothing good. So we're just gonna sell that. Yeah, all this time, like I said, I still yet to come across any items that when you hit as far as you can go along the tree, you get some kind of cool item like Chaos Orb or Divine Orb or something. I've just never come across that. So yeah, this temple's really dark, and it feels like this is actually the longest part of the entire act, trying to get through the Lunar Temple.
I need more pockets.
And another level up. So I know we do have inventory space. It's just a matter of moving a few things around, so get that out of the way. Let's get that Ogre Scepter. And that gives a nice bit of elemental damage, but let's see here. So this is not really an upgrade. We do get more. We do get the same amount of intelligence. Actually, one thing to note is that if you're not sure if you have like one of the best rolls that I can get, if you hold down Alt while mousing over it, you can see just how high the attributes go. So both the amulets can go up to 30, but we got 25, which is pretty good, halfway there. You can get 1 to 2 cold damage, 15 to 19 mana. So the rolls are decent, but certainly not maxed out. And I do like that increased global critical strike chance, but since we're not using any lightning damage, that kind of feels like a waste. So this is the big chamber that I thought was in Solaris Temple. Once you hit here, the entrance is usually on either the right or the left, and I just have I've never successfully picked the right way the first time. I always end up going to the dead end first, and then we're like, okay, we'll lose the other way. Every single time. But they have some nice design for here. I mean, even though a lot of the assets you used are pretty repetitive just to make the dungeon seem really long, I really like the design of the Lunar Temple here. Lunaris Temple. The red carpets, the dark lighting, all the golds. Okay, so there is the waypoint, and then if it seems dark now, boy, level 2 really steps it up with its pools of blood and all kinds of crazy stuff. So this actually feels like one of the longest parts because
for 3 days after taking bad leaf drops.
There's always like one entrance to the next area, and I would say that there's 3 zones. So you have like the pools of blood here, and then you have the cage area. I think the cage area, and then the steps leading up to where the boss is. But yeah, it usually takes a little while for me to get through here. So one thing about this area, another thing about this area is that even though it seems like, oh well, it's a long path here, you've got to be going the right way. Here can still lead to dead ends, even if it feels like you're going a long way. So yep, you went all that way, and it's like, oh, dead end. So I don't know if this is actually going to be the right way, or if this is going to lead to another dead end, and I'm going to have to backtrack all the way back to the stairs. But there's a lot of enemies here, so yep, another dead ends. And yeah, usually the dead ends in this game, you don't have to go so far for. But in this one, it's just, you can go down a long path and still reach the dead end. Usually when you come across the stairs leading up, that means that you are on the right path. But I think the stairs leading up that you're looking for are usually a little bit higher. So this is still the blood pool area by the look of it. Alright, so I think these are the stairs that lead to the next area. So then you have... Okay, so just a wide open areas that you're going through. And then that eventually leads to the cave area, maybe. Or the cage area. So I'm pretty sure that this would be the second part of this zone. Dead ends. Dead end, dead end. Yeah, the Lunaris Temple always did. Okay, so we are on the right path now. So we've gone through that, and then this is the cage area, where you're going to see a lot of these doors that lead to really nothing. But luckily we have our dash, and then we can just warp through the cages. So that saves quite a bit of time. So it didn't take us too long to get through the cage area. And then from there, we're just heading up through all these... This is a lot of dead bodies here. I mean, I'm sure there's a major backstory for this zone, because it looks like something really, really intense happened here. Okay, so that area is done. Yeah, usually when you come across the big door, you've entered the next area. So we've been through the Sun Temple, we're about through the Lunaris Temple, and then we face Piety at the end too. So even though individually they don't seem to do a lot of damage, when you have that many all
I need more pockets.
casting spells at you at once, it can still be pretty deadly. Okay, so can we get the copper Chris? Yes, we can. Let's actually put you here, and hopefully that's enough for whatever we get from Piety. So if you don't have the
It's been a
crafting
grand
tables, there is
experiment.
one
Time
right
will
here
show the
too.
results.
If you haven't learned it yet, then it'll actually appear on your
You've no idea
mini-map
what's
there.
at stake here, Shadow.
So this time, in the crematorium when you face her, you just have to get her down to half health. Here you have to get her health down to 0. And she actually has a few different forms. So you saw the ice one there, and then she has a lightning one and a fire one.
Damn you!
But I took her out quickly enough that I didn't have to worry about it. Alright,
Try
so
not to
we
take
have
my
that all
word
done.
personally,
We're
but
going to
you
exit to the
Piety-
character screen. Zone back in. Good coffee. Alright, now we
You
just
are the
talk to a couple people. And then... So this is where you can get the flamethrower trap. Okay, so that's one where the uses might actually come in handy. Mines, no, we don't want that. So flamethrower trap, lightning spire trap, that one might be useful too, although it has limited uses as well. Seismic trap, so a lot of the traps seem to require something to lower how many times you can use it. So I think we're going to go with the lightning spire
You have
trap this
claimed the
time,
most worthy. Why are you still standing
even though I'm
there?
not really
Why
planning
is
on
off the-
using it yet.
Bring me back something nice, huh?
It might be good just to have that, because I don't think I have a lightning
they?
trap.
Watch yourself.
So just talk to
The
everybody,
gemling you've been Piety.
and yep, he gives us that. Only problem is
Tread
that we
carefully. I
are
don't think I need
short
to
on
be doing
inventory
that right
space.
now.
So let's clear that out with this guy up
What's
here.
going on?
Although I think that Clarissa actually lets you sell stuff through her as well. So identify. Now we don't need really anything here. None of these items are all that great for us. Sell, and get rid of that. Okay. Oh, and the clasp there. Okay, so that clears out my inventory. Let's move this to up here. And
Bring me back something nice, huh?
throw the rest into the and yeah, we're going to keep all these here, and we're going to be using that key pretty soon. So now that that's all done, combustion support gem, yep, we're going to level that up, and we want to get the mastery for here. Now which one to pick? Reduced reflected elemental damage taken. Let's see. Hits have a 25% chance to treat monster elemental resistances values that's converted. Now that can be pretty good. Okay, so I think we are going to go with the treats monster elemental resistances as if they're inverted, and then just apply that. Alright. Now we go back to the Ebony Barracks. And luckily it's still explored, so we are going to head right to the right and just look for a door. It's usually slightly up from where the waypoint is, but it's usually pretty far on the right side of the map. So sometimes you can find it, yep, right away.
Not all murders are equal.
So now we're at the Imperial Gardens, and this is another area that's pretty big. So what we're going to do is, we're actually looking for a few things here as well. So this is where we get the other item for Captain Fairgraves, the Chittis Plume. We are looking for the waypoint here as well. We're looking for the library, which we're going to clear, and then we're also looking for the tower to God. So the library is usually on the left side of the map, just a little bit north of where you come in. The Chittis is usually somewhere between the library and the entrance to the next area, and then this next area. So we are definitely progressing through this act pretty quickly. Alright, so here's the waypoints. This should lead to the library. This one is usually pretty static as far as where it appears on the map. And another level up. Alright, so I think the library would probably be south. Yep. So we're going to quickly clear the library. Use up another skill point, so we're going to do... you know what? I'm going to save that for a little bit later, because I'm not quite sure where to put it. And it's not like I'm really hurting on levels right now. So there's a waypoint here, and the guy you're looking for that gives you a quest, he also sells a whole bunch of gems. The main problem is that it doesn't allow you to buy the gems without having the items that are required in your inventory. So if they're in your stash, it doesn't matter at all. But he usually sells gems that you can get throughout later acts in the game. It's just they're a little bit more expensive than if you were to buy them directly from Lanny. Alright, so the waypoint is down here. So we definitely want to grab that, because after we finish the next part, we're going to just take the shortcut.
Go with care, friend.
So now we are looking for something on the map that's a loose candle. And then that opens the secret passage, and then we find the 4 golden pages. And then we turn them in, and then the library is done. It's not really a necessary part of the game. I think I've seen quite a few people running through this act that tend to skip it. But I figure just get the experience, do the full run through. Yeah, because he doesn't really offer any
Just
other
need
rewards.
a moment to catch my breath.
So bone rings are the ones that, if you're doing a minion build, you would want those, since they add quite a bit of minion damage. So it's usually fairly easy to see the candlestick when you come across it, because if you have the everything that, like, if you have any dummy icons turned on, or whatever they're called. So as you can see, the text is there. It's the same for when I find the loose candlestick. It'll appear in writing there, so it's a lot harder to miss. But some people do have that turned off, and it's like, ooh, for here, I would prefer to have that on. So it was everywhere, I checked everywhere except down. It's probably going to be pretty close to around here. It would be nice to try that lightning spire trap, but because I'm getting more fire damage right now, I think it would be a bit of a downgrade as far as damage goes, and then it does have the limited uses as well. I've used up all my charges for dashing, or the quicksilver. So it's got to be around here somewhere. And oh, there it is, the loose candle. So then that opens up the area. Now we just need the 4 golden pages. So you'll always see golden exclamation mark where it nears. Yeah, I still remember this was another area I had a lot of trouble with, because if you're playing on Ruthless, you really want to make sure that you use the guide here to the fullest potential, because it's really one of the few ways outside of just luck to get any gems that you need. Alright, so we have the first stage. We don't need... I remember trying the Crucible here and just setting it to way too high and then having to try and get around because those guys were just one-shotting me and they were so fast on Ruthless. I was also a bit newer to the game too, so I wasn't nearly as good at dodging. But I think for Act 3, whenever you use the Crucible, you're going to find that they're a lot more frost-based. So even though it feels like you're dodging, they can pretty much freeze you almost right after the thing spawns, and then they kill you off way too quick. So I think the last one, I probably have to go up and around. Nope, down and around. So once we get the last page, nope, neither. Is it down this way? Probably not. So we're going to finish off this act, and then we're going to do the Trial of the Ascendancy run, and then we're going to have my first, or my specialization. So it's not there, so it's all the way around. Sometimes they really make you work for the items, don't they? If you do come across anything that's superior, even though it's not really necessary, it definitely helps to get it, just because it's going to be a little bit better than a regular gem you would use. Alright, so we have all 4 pages. Log out, log in. Take the waypoints, back to the library. Turn in the 4 pages to this guy.
By this tapestry.
So then he gives you a lot of selection. Second wind support. That's actually something that's really good for dash. Where do I have dash? Arcane Surge and dash. So I can actually move this here, Arcane Surge, and then if I get second winds, dash will have more than 1 charge. Ice Bite supports. Nope, can't use that. Charge mines, energy leech, high impact mines. So there's a lot of stuff for mines. This would actually be a really good one to get to, the charge trap support. Yeah, I think when I get the 6 link one, that's probably going to be another one I'm going to put in as well. But for now, I'm going to get second winds. So, there we go. We have second wind, and we're going to put... Oh, shoot, actually... No, I need 2 green, not 2 blue. Alright. Is this any good? No. And we don't really have a good chromatic one. Okay, so forget that for now. We are going to go back to the Imperial Gardens and try and find the rest of it. So, usually up here on the upper left-hand side, that's where you'll find another Trial of Ascendancy. It's a really easy one where there's just a whole bunch of arrow traps there. With dash, you can generally just run right through it. Skid Rock. No, I don't have Skid Rocks activated. I was wondering why I didn't see them around. So first thing we need to find is the chicken, the chittis, and then, okay, so just go a little bit around, and just head towards the, here, I think there's like a mini boss here as well. Yeah, there we go, the Conqueror Worm. So then we get the plum. And now we are going to head to try and find the entrance to the Scepter of God. I thought it was called the Tower of God for some reason. So those Devourers are kind of a nuisance because you can't see them at all. They just all of a sudden pop up and usually have a pretty strong hit and attack. We have a lot of evasion, so it's not a big concern. The Scepter of God entrance is usually on the right side of the map and upwards. And a Valor. Those are good to have too.
Just need a moment to catch my breath.
Now just go north. Yep, here we go. So this is why you need to go to the Temple of Luminaries first, because these don't open unless you have the key.
Whoever built this was desperately compensated.
So now it's just, I think, about 5 or 6 levels to go through here. So we're on level 1. I'm going to kind of try and count it off. They have a lot more statues here, but the statues are a little bit more decayed, darker. And a lot of the enemies here cast this little dome that's usually something to protect them. But I still find that they die really quickly regardless. And another Crucible. Can't even use it. Nope, nothing to identify either. So I'm pretty sure that there's probably a guide or like people that have run this game more than enough. They're probably so used to getting through here pretty quickly that they know the layouts a lot better than I would. But a lot of times I know the general area that something is in, but I definitely don't know the layouts of this game too well yet. So now we're on level 2. So what we're looking for is the waypoint will be usually on the same level as the stairs that lead to the upper Scepter of God. So if you see stairs that say that, and you haven't found the waypoint yet, it's going to be on that level. But it's rare that you would have to come back here anyway, so a lot of people tend to skip just getting the waypoints. It's not something that's necessary at all. Okay. So let's try going down. Okay, so yep, this was the right way. So we are on level 3 now. And you can see the higher up you go, the more the area starts looking damaged and ruined. So what I'm going to want to do is look for something that has 2 green slots and a blue slot, because then I can put in second wind, and then my dash will have 2 charges, and I think it goes up from there. Alright, so we're actually on, so we're on the 3rd level, and you can see the waypoint there. Get up. So we want to get that waypoint first before going off, and then we're on the upper Scepter of God, and we are probably about halfway there, I think. Okay, so it's not right there. Otherwise, we would probably see
Just
the
need a
icon.
moment to catch my breath.
So we want to look for the door. Alright, so there we go, the Upper Scepter of God. So once you see that, if you haven't got the waypoints, you can always try and look for it on that level. So now we're on level 4. And when you reach the area that leads to the rooftop, if you don't have the Scion, then she would be on that level. I'll probably mention it when I get to it. But it's really hard to miss because I think she has an exclamation mark above her head anyway. So if you, unless you're trying to miss her, she's always going to be right there. And I think that's, once you unlock her for your account, it doesn't reset based on seasons. I think once you get it, the Scion is always going to be there. And I don't see a lot of builds for the Scion at all, which is a shame because it's a pretty interesting looking character. But the only build that I really see is somebody suggesting doing the concoction build, where you always leave your main hand empty and then you just keep throwing out the potions. You want specific flasks to up the damage, and then you want something to so it hits as much of an area as it can. So you start off using the poison concoction, and then you go to the explosive. So now we're on level 5. You can see that it's starting to look a little bit more crowded and crazy up here. The boss of this area, you fight him on the rooftop, and he's like in the center is just this really weird machine. Alright, we are almost there. Alright, so I think we actually have to head upwards. So yeah, if the stairs are winding down, you know that that's the area that you came from. You don't really want to back up. So we're on level 5 still. So I think it's 6 levels. Usually the top one just before the roof is a lot shorter. Alright, so the door is somewhere over here. And looks like I missed it. So backtrack just a little bit. And this takes us up to level 6. And it's usually pretty straightforward on this level. So you want to usually head north as much as you can. And that takes you to the rooftop. Alright, so, yep, the machines are here. Doors here. So yeah, if you don't have the Scion, I think it's usually either in this room. Yep, so this is where she would have been if I hadn't got her. But since I already have the Scion, it's just an empty cage now. And then this leads us to the roof. And now we are ready to face the boss. So we have to go through a bunch of enemies here. And you want to keep those lightning things as minimal as possible because they do start doing a fair bit of damage if you just let them pile up. But because our mines do so much AoE damage, You kind of just throw them out a little bit randomly and then just watch everything melt.
Have you ever seen the true face of God, Exile?
So once you hear that line, you know that Dominus is going to be entering the fight. You watch out for those ghosts, and if you hear him say like the hand of God or something like that, he wasn't paying attention. So level up the fire trap. So he does do a lot of damage. Yeah, you definitely want to watch out for those ghosts.
Die!
Very few characters can actually withstand his Fist of God attack.
This world is an illusion.
Okay, so once he does that, then he's going to the next area, or the next phase. So this little circle around him, you'll see it cast when he's summoning or changing form, but when he has that surrounding him, you usually want to stand pretty close to him because he's going to start exploding. Or the blood rain does a lot of damage if you're standing outside the circle. And it's pretty easy to just dodge him in here because his attacks are slow and predictable.
It's funny, Your Grace. I always thought you'd be taller.
So once he's dead, Lady Dahlia comes out. You talk to her.
You have mounted the
She
summit
says,
of
"Congratulations,
the Empire,
you've
not
done
a
all this stuff."
cockroach.
Blah blah blah.
You have crushed the bug emperor and wiped his maggot dreams from the skin of Rayclast. Dominus exiled you.
Boy, she rambles on
Naked.
quite a bit.
Of course, there will be more.
Alright. So, now you can go to the aqueduct. Once you step in here, the waypoint activates. So, yep, you have
All
the
this
aqueduct.
water and not a
And
single
then you
working
just travel to
boat in
Highgate.
sight.
Once I do that, then I'm going to head to
More
the
walking and
Trial of
killing for me,
Ascendancy
then.
and get my first specialization. So you can, for this area, you can either take the upper path or the lower path. There's not much point in zigzagging across because I see a lot of people just pick one path, run it, reset the dungeon. It's if they're a little bit lagging in levels, because this takes you up to 37 or 38 really quickly. So we are at 36, so if I wanted to get up in levels if I was a bit low, this would be a quick place to do it.
Just need a moment to catch my breath.
So the mini boss here, you actually, I think no matter what you do, you're going to come across them. It's a big bird that's called 1,000 something. I can't remember exactly, but you're pretty much guaranteed to run into him no matter which way you take. And if you kill him quickly, he doesn't even fly up and delay the fight. So it'd probably be around here, because once you hear the birds, it's got to be coming up. So the 100-foot shadow. And we took him out before he even flew up. I am loving these traps. So those green icons and the blue icons, those are charges. They can increase your damage or ability by quite a bit. And they're based on the attacks you use. So if you're using blue or green attacks, you'll usually get a frenzy or a magic charge, which should increase your either dexterity abilities or your intellect-based ones. The red is for strength, so You know, that's actually one thing that would be fairly interesting if they did a build that was more focused on charges, but there's very few abilities that are tied to them.
We will be
Alright,
remembered.
so this is Act 4. So now we are going to go and do the Trial of Ascendancy. If you did what I did at the beginning of, or the end of Act 2, where you just open up the door, go in, get the waypoint, then you can just travel to the Experience Plaza, and then just go from there. So because this is a little... Actually, there's one other thing I forgot to do. So we're in Act 3. So because we have the Chittis now, we can go to the docks, turn in the quest to... What's his face? Captain Fairgraves. And he lets you pick a ring. So my rings are not really that great, but because the mana one is actually not really good at all, I'm going to take that one. So now, Captain Fairgraves is dead.
Poor Fairgraves. Your plans just
so
don't
18
end
intellect,
well, do
26
they?
mana. We generate 14 life per second, and 8% all. So that's a nice upgrade from that. And anything good here? Dexterity? No. 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 So nothing good there. And there was one other thing in town.
I
So
don't
talk
think
to
I need to
Brigger
be
for
doing
your
that
retort.
right now.
Why are you still standing there?
Oh, and I have 3 points to use up. I think I'll use those before doing the labyrinth.
Yes?
So piety reward, 4
Now
points.
you must leave me.
Alright, so what I want to get next is... Let's see. I don't want mines. I don't want daggers, don't want recovery. What I would actually like is to start going down a different path now. That's actually fairly decent. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm going to go this path. So that's actually pretty good, and then I can start looking for something more along this area here. So, for increased attack speed, increased chaos damage. You don't really need chaos damage. I wouldn't mind these as well. That'll help with my defense. Anyway,
I don't think
Time
I need
to
to be
do the
doing
trial.
that right now.
so there's a few ways that you can do the trial. If you want to, like, hunt for the keys and all the shrines and the puzzles, you can. I think we're kind of going to just rush it, because the low-level ones aren't really that great. So, make sure it's
The
activated.
goddess is watching.
So whenever you enter an area, there's always going to be like a map here. And then, so it's a straightforward path to the first boss. And then it usually splits 1 or 2 ways. Then you'll fight him a second time, and then a third time. And once you fight him the third time, you're done. So I think that this one is always the same layout in the beginning. So there's a couple things you'll always come across. You'll always come across like a fire room, a few different traps. But we're going to pretty much rush through it. So there's only one exit in this area. And one thing you want to do is just keep an eye on your map. So if you see any areas where it is a wall, but it looks like it branches off into something else, then you'll usually find a shrine or treasure. So I don't see any here.
Just need a moment to catch my
And those
breath.
traps are definitely deadly. They can do so much damage quickly. So there's nothing... Oh, actually. One thing that usually is up here... Yeah, you'll always find a decorative chest. And what they do is whenever you fight the boss in his main chamber, it usually gives you some kind of a buff or something. So I'll go through what Sand of Eternity does, or I'll look at what Sand of Eternity does in just a sec. Once we are out of danger. Here you never really want to stand around because traps can come out of nowhere. Enemies can just start mobbing you. Once you start this area, you can't leave, and it's good not to risk dying, because once you die, you're done. It ports you out, and then you have to start all over. Where is the exits? Alright, so there's the first one. So if you look at the door, it'll usually tell you where you're going next. So there's only one path, and it's to the boss. So since we can't leave, it is good to have your stash have a bit of room. So that way you can usually move stuff in. Do I have any empty ones? And the fossil one. Okay. I don't really use those often. Crafting is something I haven't got the hang of yet in this game. But even though you can't leave, you can fill everything up. So the next idol you hit will no longer regenerate life. Alright, so that might be good for just keeping the area clear. But I think our traps are going to do so much damage to this boss that we're not going to have to worry about that.
Slowness.
So the fight starts, if you're standing at the entrance, the fight doesn't start, but once you start moving...
Violence is delicate.
So with this boss, you really do not want to just stand in place. And he's already down.
Is the offspring of suffering and time.
So the first one is down, so it looks like the second one splits off into two paths. The straight one will probably lead right to the boss. The one on the... probably on the left side of the map will lead offwards. So we'll check when we get there just to make sure we're on the right one. But I think we're going to want to head right. And just continue avoiding any traps because every trap can really hurt. I think the any melee class that has high health has a much better chance of surviving. We're a little bit squishy, but because we do so much damage, it's not a big concern. As long as we don't do something stupid like stand in the traps. Alright, so here is... okay, so yeah, this leads right to the aspirant. So we're just going to go that way.
When the time comes to strike, an emperor strikes without hesitation.
So this is the second fight.
An emperor is only as efficient as those he commands.
So it's pretty much the same each time, except there's going to be a few abilities that we'll have.
Honor your name.
That change between fight 1, fight 2, and fight 3. Yeah, I remember the first time coming through this area. I was here for so long because I had a ballista build, but I was so bad at putting points in the right spots that the ballista was doing like almost no damage. So I'm sitting there throwing out ballistas for like 15-20 minutes, and I finally got the boss down, but it was ridiculous how bad my damage was. And another level up. So you really want to be quick going across those fire areas because they can hurt. Once it fades, then you're safe to go across. Wrong way. Yeah, those traps really eat at your health so fast. So yeah, it's hard to avoid the fire areas, but once you get across, you're good to go. And unless you have some need to backtrack. So there's the fire traps, there's those traps, the door traps, just a lot of stuff in here. Some of the dark shrines actually reduce how much trap damage you take. And I don't think that's going to be one of them. So if you see a shrine that's not hidden behind the door,
just need a moment to catch my breath.
Then it's usually just your regular shrine. So it definitely gets intense the further you're in here, and you really want to avoid dying. Those can really hurt if you just walk right into them. So, let's see here. Alright, so no matter what, you're going to have to either go up one to another area, and then lead to the boss. So we might as well just take that path and see where it leads us. So the entrance we're probably looking for is going to be on the right side. Let's actually check if it's down here. So, no, it doesn't look like it's down here. Okay, if you ever come across something like this, this is essentially the key. So you're going to have fire, lightning, frost. And then there'll be a big maze here. So, fire, lightning, frost. Fire, lightning. So, fire, lightning, frost. Fire, lightning, frost. Fire, lightning, frost. Fire, lightning, frost. Fire? Okay, so that opened it. Yeah, if you don't actually follow that key, then that door is just never going to open. And every time you step on the wrong one, the arrows just come at you. So arena plates. So we did get through, and we got another treasure key. So you'll see what those do at the end of this run. That might actually sell pretty well for maybe a couple jeweler gems. So arcane surge, power charges. So I guess blue is power charges, increases your critical strike defense. Alright, I think the door that we're looking for is up here. Yep, Aspirant's Trial. So we do have another level up. Yeah, it was just the key that I got. So level up the skitterbox and the combustion. And then let's put our Narc's points. Let's see. What do I want? No, don't want any of those. I wouldn't mind this, but the quickest way to get that is... Yeah, there's not really a quick way. Let's work on getting this then. Nope, I actually don't want that. Increase mana, mana mastery. You know, I think I might just hold off and think about it a little bit more.
An aspirant
so
can
we're only
afford to be
1 point
promising.
short.
An emperor must keep those promises.
So this is the last time we face it.
Trap of them all.
And usually here, for the third fight, that's when you're going to come across him really going overboard with the traps.
Prove yourself, Ascendant.
So it's not so much this one, because this is meant to be a fairly easy trial. But when you go to the medium and the hard one, you're going to find traps that are a lot more dangerous. So we got one key, we'll get the heavy belt, both belts, and then the rest of the stuff is fairly useless. So then you enter the Ascendancy Chamber. So we have 2 keys. By exploring the dungeon, usually you can get between 2 and 4 more. And then sometimes these, if you pick right, they have a key as well. So I've never actually been able to open up all the chests, but once I got pretty close. Alright, so that just gives you a lot here. And then you want to come to the Divine Fonts, because you can always... you always want to equip whatever, or enchant whatever item you can. So you put your item in, highlight the enchant, and choose enchant, and never forget to put it back. Because I remember the first time coming through here, I did. I was like, I could have sworn I had gloves, and then I went a bunch of levels without knowing what the hell happened to them until I came back here, and it's like, oh, they don't automatically revert to you. So we want to go Saboteur, because we are trying to get this one here. So every time you finish, you go through the Ascendancy 4 times. You have your beginner, your medium, your expert, and then your endless one. The endless one you don't get by doing the levels or the trial of Ascendancy. You get it by actually finding a key. So we are going to choose the Saboteur.
The artist
and ascend.
Need not be present
and
to make a lasting impression.
You'll probably see, like, if you have your character menu open and you ascend, you see that it changes. So it's different icons for each ascendancy and then each level of ascendancy as well. So as we get the second one done, the icon's going to change a bit more into the Saboteur, and then again, and then for the 4th one. So let's get the increased area of effects, increased trap throwing speed, and skills used by traps have 50% increased area of effect. Here also. Okay, so that's cool. Alright, so my shadow is all set. Then we return to town. This is all done. Alright, so we have completed everything we need to do for Act 3. It still says you have to complete the labyrinth, but you have to go through the Cruel Labyrinth, which it doesn't really require, but recommends level 55, then I think 68, and then 70 plus for the last one. So we are all done for tonight. Act 3 is done. My character is starting to be pretty beastly right now. The traps... So doing up to 1195 fire damage per second and 656 for damage. So I'm going to warp to High Gates because that's going to be the next area that we do. Act 4 is a lot shorter, but this is usually where you see people starting to gather a bit more. Here and Act 1 for some reason. So my next video I'll start this act. But I think I'm going to call it for tonight, so thanks for watching. Subscribe if you like these videos, and I'm going to keep making them. And I'm really looking forward to the next expansion for this game, but I want to get as much done here as I can and just stay pretty relevant in the game. But have a good night all. Thanks for watching. Bye.